Welcome everybody. Today's live stream is going to be a little bit different from my recent streams as there has been some exciting changes recently. MDX ALGO has partnered with TRENDMASTER, which is another popular indicator company. So we now actually have several additional indicators available to us. This merger actually happened while I was out in nature where I didn't even have phone reception for a few days, so most of this is still very new to me. But today we're going to dive in, check out some features on both sets of indicators, and hopefully get a little bit more familiar with these tools, as there is obviously a lot of new faces for both sides of this team up. So with that, guys, I'm going to start out with a little bit of Bitcoin analysis, kind of where I see the market, what the indicators are showing me on a few different time frames and that sort of thing. And then we're going to take a look at some features, some setups, or just basically some setups that I like to use with these indicators and that sort of thing. But we're going to start off by looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart here. And one thing that I have been talking about in my streams recently is that one of my favorite things with the Algo 3 indicator, I'm going to hop right into it here, is which way these W's are trending. It's one of my favorite little bits of confluence. I have two strategies that I like very much with this indicator, just for looking for confluence, if nothing else. But quite often you can see that these W's, and this is the reversal warning, so I'll bring up my settings here. This would be the reversal warning. That would be these W's on the chart. And quite often you'll see them just setting a very clear trend. And what I mean by that is you see them setting lower highs, lower lows, and vice versa on the other side, obviously. So quite often when I'm planning my trades, I will definitely take this into consideration, just which way I think the market is trending. And what I mean by that is basically I can go back quite a ways here. Let's go to just actually we can go a little further. Yeah, you know what, let's just go here. You can see that, so we had this W here, and yes, this is a straight shot up, but obviously we set a higher high, another higher high, and once again a higher high with those W's. So when you have the top trending to the upside like that, and then we see the same thing happen on the bottom where we have this low, we set a higher low. I mean, even though it was short-lived, this was a great scalp call. I mean, from where that would have printed, it would have printed after the candle closed. But even from that level, we did get a decent little pump to the upside. We got another 5% or so to the upside. And you can see that basically we got a bit of a warning shot here when these are pretty much level, but this second W is actually very slightly lower than this one. It's basically the same. Actually, maybe it is the same. No, it is very slightly lower. So basically what that means is we had our W's trend into the upside, but then we got this little bit of a warning. And so that's not necessarily a sell signal, but what I like to use with this strategy is then looking for the lower high as well. So I'd be looking for the next bearish W when looking to see if the trend is going to carry on to the downside here. So we got this little bit of a warning that the trend may be shifting to the downside. And what do you know? We got a lower high W, and look at that beautiful sell signal there. And that's not just this signal here. I mean, we obviously set lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Even this one down here, as far as a scalp goes, I mean, you could have caught a nice little scalp right here, this little move to the downside there. Absolutely could have called that with this little strategy here, just warning that, the trend may not be done moving to the downside. Now, one thing I did talk about on my previous stream was one thing that would lead me to go quite bullish would be if these W's just shifted directions, because at the time we did actually have this higher high set. So once again, this is just a warning because the tops and bottoms never lined up yet, right? As far as the bottoms go, we had this low and we had a lower low, but then our tops actually set a higher high. So we have a bit of mixed signals there, right? So there's just a couple warnings going on there. But what I did say was that I would be quite bullish if we end up getting a higher low here. And even though we did do that, we have to be a little bit careful here, guys. So just like anything, I mean, it's not going to be 100%. And, this may have been a beautiful buy signal here. But something we do have to consider is that we already got this warning that we're just seeing a little bit of weakness from the bulls so far at this support level. So one thing that would actually lead me to be quite bearish now would be if we change this direction. Obviously, we have a higher high set there. So if we end up getting a bit of a bounce, let's say we get something like this and we see a lower high W, something like this, especially right at a supply zone like that, this would be a very interesting shorting level in my opinion. That's just kind of a very simple breakdown of how I like to use these W's, and by all means stop me if this isn't making sense or you need me to backtrack a little bit. But like I said, just basically using these reversal warnings as a bit of confluence to find out which way the market is trending. And I had actually pointed that out in Solana this morning. Ooh, actually, speaking of that, that's actually a decent little sell signal right there. We have, actually the bottoms aren't agreeing yet, but this could be... It's a little riskier because the bottom isn't lining up with our lower lows of W's, but we did set a lower high, so we do have a little bit of a warning there. It's right below our, this is a 5-minute moving average here that I have, a 5-minute volume weighted moving average. I'll go into those settings in a little bit too, because that's another strategy I really like. But to see that lower high W here come in right around that 5-minute moving average, as well as seeing this big supply zone up above us, that's just one of those signals that I like, because not only, I mean, no signal is ever going to be 100%, right, guys? But the thing is, sometimes you can get such tight stop losses on plays like this, where, you know, if you just had your stop loss basically somewhere above this structure back here, above this supply zone, you know, if that gets taken out here in the next few minutes, then yeah, you know, maybe it is possible that we end up trending a little bit higher, maybe even testing this 1-hour trend here, which I'm going to get into in a bit. But yeah, earlier today in the group, in the altcoins chat, I was talking about these W's and finding positions on them. Where was that? I want to say it was right around here that I ended up taking a short. I'm out of it now, obviously, but since I am more of a scalper, those of you guys who are new to the group, like I was talking about earlier, I am more of a degen. I like more of the scalping time frames, get in, get out, that sort of thing, at least closing like a quarter to half of my position very quickly. For example, again, just using these strategies, after I got that lower high W here, I entered a short. I started taking profits very quickly because we got a reversal warning there. And even though it was a lower low, it is still a reversal warning. So I just want to do my due diligence. It's obviously risky when I'm trading with high leverage and stuff like that. So close half my position and let the rest run, kind of a thing. And Solana has been my coin of choice lately because that has been respecting that strategy so well. I can even go to the 4-hour and show you guys. Yeah, here's a perfect example. Obviously, we had all these lows. We had low, lower, low, lower, low, lower, low, lower, lower, lower. All these W's are just trending to the downside. And then, what do you know? We get a lower high W here. Boom. Absolutely beautiful sell signal. That was just fantastic. I was basically shorting Solana all the way down, just taking scalps. And then honestly, even this next one, we set another lower high, and look at that. That was another beautiful sell signal. I mean, this is the 4-hour. So when you actually zoom in, obviously taking a look at longer time frames, kind of zooming in, that's where finding a short setup after something like that can be such a beautiful signal. And I like using this strategy basically on any time frame. It's just great confluence. And like I said, it's obviously not going to be perfect 100% of the time, but it is such a strong determining factor when I'm looking for confluences in my trade setups. Honestly, usually when I end up losing scalps, it's usually because I'm ignoring my own strategy. Like, I'll think that, hey, you know, I think we are forming support here, so I'm going to go long, and I think we're really going to send it back up to the highs of this range, kind of. It's just, obviously it might not have worked out and we may be trending to the downside still, and then I would have got stopped out. If that's all theoretical at this point, obviously. But like I said, usually when scalping, if I lose a trade, it's because I'm ignoring the direction these W's are trading. So it's definitely something that I've kind of thrown into my quiver of tools for things that I really like to look for. Yeah, so when I'm entering a short, it really depends. If I'm busy doing other stuff, I will just basically set half my take profit at the next level of structure, sort of thing. Like in this case, for example, in taking a sell signal like this, entering right about here on the candle close, obviously. What I like to do, I like to target my favorite Fibonacci's, and those of you who have been on my streams, you know exactly where this is going. But I love the 786 and 886 Fibonacci pockets. So if I'm looking at a short here, I would go to look for where we may find support. So just going to where our current local low would have been at that time to over here, and where we ended up topping out there. And that's basically where I would have been looking at taking some profits, if not all my profits. I find the 786 and 886 Fibonacci levels are respected so well in crypto. So yeah, those have been some of my favorite Fibonacci's lately. So that's one way to do it. But like I said, if I'm not busy, if I'm actually like sitting at the computer, paying attention to the charts, whether I'm, playing, I have 3 monitors on the go at all times, so I'm usually trading, playing video games, and watching something at the same time. So in that case, I usually just leave my take profit open, and then as soon as I would get basically any kind of a reversal warning, and I don't even mean that by the signal, although that is one that I take quite seriously. Basically, if I got another signal, like let's say I took, once again, if I had taken this short here and looked for that swing, and then we ended up just forming, let's say, a W right here, that would have been a good little bit of confidence, I guess, in taking profits at that level, just because, again, that may be a reversal, right? But yeah, it really depends what I see at that point. If I see maybe a break in structure on a shorter time frame, a flip of a moving average, divergences, reversal warnings. We have the oscillator 4 up here that really likes to also has some interesting divergences, bearish and bullish pivots. That's what these diamonds are, would be a pivot. Specifically, if all 3 indicators end up lining up together, this would be my oscillator 4 from the MDX ALGO. This is the MDX ALGO 3 that I have, and the oscillator 5 is down here. So you'll notice that I also have my candle colors inverted. And that's just because I really like when these indicators all line up. So if the oscillator 4 is starting to get near support, or just trying to find support, you'll see a lot of green starting to show, like green divergences or bullish pivots in the green side of the band here. And then you also get the candle colors start flashing bright green at you. The oscillator 5 also starts flashing some green dots and green bullish divergences at the support level, or at oversold territory kind of thing. It's really nice to see all 3 indicators line up together. So that's why I have inverted colors, and that's just another thing that would lead me to end up well, that can go both ways. That can be confluence for entering a position. It can be confluence for getting the hell out of my position. So that's another thing that I would look for if I was actively looking at the charts. So hopefully that made sense there. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over my settings here on the ALGO 3. If I bring up my settings. So actually, this won't do much for us on the 4 hour. Let's hop over to a more degenerate time frame here. Let's hop over to the 1 minute, because that's where I do most of my degen scalping. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm actually tempted to take a short on Bitcoin right now, because we're getting near the 1 hour moving average. I'm going to start laddering in a small short here, just while I'm getting all sidetracked here. Not financial advice. I also lose some trades just like anyone, but these are This is one of those signals that I really like. Again, it won't work out 100% of the time, but this is one of those setups where quite often you can get a very nice size move with a very minimal stop loss. So I'm going to have my stop loss just somewhere up here. Let's go 25,828. And so basically my reasoning for this is looking at this 1 hour trend. So again, I'm on the 1 minute. This is where I like to do my degen scalping, bringing up the Algo 3 settings. So I have trend 1, that would be this green trend down here, which actually may end up pushing us to the upside, because again, we do have these W's trending to the upside. So I am going against that strategy, but I am taking a different strategy here. So trend 1 is my volume weighted moving average, and this is a 5-minute trend. So even though I'm on a 1-minute chart, that's just kind of keeping an eye on the 5-minute trend there. And next, and more importantly, is my trend 2 is the EMA 1 hour. And there's no magical settings that are just going to work out 100% of the time, anything like that. It's just, these are what I've been using. I've had these indicators for about a year now, just over a year. And I've always kind of used the trend as the 1 hour EMA. And I really like when we get, once again, going to these reversal warnings, I really like to see those along this trend. So there is a little bit of a lag with this version of the indicators. So we kind of have to do a bit of an eyeball. Let's just, I know that may not be perfect, but it's just an approximate level, right? So getting reversal warnings right near that 1 hour trend retest, that's something that, like I said, you can get such tight stop losses for the potential size of move, because this is a trending indicator. So quite often it will actually determine which way the trend is going. So I mean, to have such a tight stop loss here, even if I'm wrong, I really don't care, just because of the risk reward, right? That other day when Bitcoin just absolutely nuked, and I know some of you may have been here, I was talking about it, but I took a trade setup just like this. I had my stop loss within $30. I took a 69x short, and I ended up catching a $4,000 dump. So the risk reward on that was, you have to math that out for me, but I think even when I was obviously taking profits along the way, because I'm not looking for a home run trade when I'm trading the 1 minute. But even taking profits along the way at random places, random take profits, I still ended up making, I think it was something like 30 times more than I would have lost had the trade gone against me. So that's why I say that even though it doesn't work out every time, just it's such tight risk reward that it can be very beneficial. And that's just one of the reasons why I really love seeing these W's along the 1 hour trend. And not only that, if it is a bit of a choppy market, and I mean lately it has been a little bit choppy, so I mean take it for what you will, this may not work out. But in a trending market, this can be so absolutely powerful. If we start trending to the downside here and we see the 1 hour trend kind of take a dump with the price, and as it's trying to catch up, and then we see more retests like this where we retest it again, get a reversal warning along it again, I've been in situations where I've been able to take partial profits on a position, then add back in as I retest that level, then take a little more profits as the trade goes in my favor, and then add back in based on that same signal. And I've had that play out in trending markets where you just have like a few days straight of any time you get that signal along that trend, that you can just top up your position a little bit. So it can be very powerful, but like I said, guys, it is a trending indicator. So in choppy markets, yeah, it's not necessarily the most reliable, but again, this is just basically a risk reward kind of a setup. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the MDX indicators yet. I know there's definitely some of you guys are new. So does everything I've been saying kind of make sense to you guys right so far? Those are basically my two favorite things that I look for with these indicators. I know there's a whole slew of other features. I like to keep my charts very clean. So I'll go over the rest of my settings here and we can take a little peek. It does look like one thing that is a little alarming as well is just that we do have a lot of these demand zones forming and we don't really have a supply zone until way up here. Actually, something I want to check out, again, just going back to Fibonacci's. If we do end up getting a pump right through that 1 hour EMA, another level I would be interested in watching to see if we get some kind of a rejection would be that Fibonacci pocket again. Notice I pulled it the opposite direction this time because I'd be looking for a rejection, not a bounce. So pulled top to bottom of this swing here, the 786 to 886 pocket is where I'd be quite interested in seeing what the price does at those levels. I'm just going to mute Q because I'm just getting a little bit of background noise here. If you need to talk, by all means, just let me know and I can get you back in there. But so yeah, basically you can see how this is working. I mean, even if we end up blasting off here, because let's face it, there is nice upward trending W's here. We do have the 5-minute moving average here, but you can notice that obviously after getting that reversal warning along the 1 hour trend there, the price is obviously respecting this level, and well, so far so good. Just taking a look at this TRENDMASTER indicator, this is the automate one. Like I said, these are so new to me. I really don't have a ton of experience with them since, yeah, well, like I said, I just basically came back from a holiday and found these new indicators here, which is great. But I can already tell that I think I'm going to like coming up with some trading strategies with this. It just reminds me, like these little white lines here, these would be swing pivots basically. And it just strongly reminds me of these W's, these reversal warnings. So I'm sure at some point I'm going to come up with some kind of strategy with them. Quite honestly, if I was being very conservative right now, I'd already start thinking about, like, I'm on quite high leverage right now, so I would already be considering taking some profits right now if I was worried about it, just because we are testing this 5-minute trend here. But as it stands right now, I'm just going to let it keep going. Seven. Let me just put it on here so I keep an eye on it. Six 1.3. So that was my entry there. Yeah, we'll just see what happens here for now. Any questions so far, guys? Like any questions that you have specifically about the MDX indicators, because I obviously know them the best. I can bring up the rest of my settings here. Like I said, I keep my charts quite clean. There's a whole slew of other things you can do with the indicators. This moving average cloud, that would be this green and red cloud you can see here. I just kept it at 2 and 200. That's just kind of what it came as default. That's what I've been using ever since. I also use, obviously, the reversal warnings, which I've been very clear about. Tops and bottoms, that's these little white marks that you can see as well. Also a very good signal. Ooh, that W there. I am actually going to downsize my position just as risk management, guys. This is one of those times, and this is why I kind of titled this this stream here, this session, as risk management and using the indicators and stuff, because this is one of those times that, yes, I know it's not a very big move, but we're playing the 1 minute here. This is just a quick scalp, so any signal saying that I should consider either downsizing or totally getting rid of my position, I'm going to take it. So I am going to take half of my position here, and I'm going to update my stop loss to break even on the rest, just because once I start taking profits, I don't want to take a loss anymore. there's a good chance that we do come back up, tag this, end up and end up getting the move that I was looking for. That's totally fine. I just don't want to take a loss at this point, and I can always re-enter if we get that retest. So yeah, pretty cool that that worked so well for us right here on a lot of your first live streams here with me. So yeah, the other thing that I like is obviously these green and red boxes. That's our supply and demand boxes. And that's really all I use with the Algo 3 for the most part. Like I said, I really like having a clean chart. I just don't want to clutter it up with a whole bunch of stuff. But there is obviously a whole bunch of other features here. And if you want me to go over them, I absolutely can. Signals, that would be like our buy and sell signals. They should load in a sec. Yeah. Something that you have to just be a little bit cautious with the buy and sell signals is I personally just really like taking my own entries. That's why I kind of developed my own strategies for scalping and trading. But these can be very nice signals as well, but you have to be a little bit cautious because sometimes you will get a buy signal right into resistance or a sell signal right into support. So obviously not every single signal is going to be a low risk trade setup. Some are going to be more risky than others. So you still want to do your own, like take a look at your own analysis, see if the indicators are lining up with what you're seeing, looking for just that extra confluence, right? But as far as the signals go, another thing I want to touch on with them, yes, they will actually flash as the candle is still active, so that's another thing to watch for. Good question. They're not official until you actually have the candle close, because they'll keep flip-flopping until then. And another thing is you can fine-tune this a little bit and find it to your liking. But something else you can do with this is you can filter out a lot of this, as well as you can select some auto settings. So basically, if I check trend confluence, this will basically make sure, I just want to see what happens when they're both checked here. I haven't checked on the 1 minute for a while. But basically, trend confluence, if you have that checked, then it's only going to show you the signals of that trend, right? So we're obviously not getting the sell signals anymore as we're above the 5 minute trend here. Same thing with the second trend, which would be my 1 hour trend. You're only going to get the sell signals when we're below the 1 hour trend. Or for the most part, I guess it looks like you might get or that's actually probably, yeah, I guess you get the odd one, but it really cuts down on the clutter a lot. And actually you can limit it even further and you can filter this. See if it changes a little bit. Oh, it did already change a little bit. So yeah, you can see we're missing those buy signals that were back here now. So when you use the filter feature, it'll really cut out a lot of the clutter, and you're only gonna basically see the signals that match up with both your trends. So that's where my 5 minute trend and my 1 hour trend line up, basically. That's what you're going to get when you have filter checked. And then you can also choose auto settings. Let's say you're flip-flopping between different time frames, and you can select auto settings, and that will automatically bump up your second trend to whatever it was preset to, basically. Whatever the devs decided was worked out pretty good for that time limit. Like if I hop over to a 1 hour chart, put it on auto, it's going to be like a 4 hour trend or something like that. Go to the 4 hour, it's going to be like a 1 day or something like that. So that's what auto settings does. There is alerts for them. You're talking like for the buy and sell signals. You can set alerts, and actually I think that's just been improved as well. I haven't had a chance to look at those yet. Let me just check. Add alert on Algo 3. I'm not sure if this hasn't been updated yet. I might not have reset the indicators on my chart yet. That's probably what happened. But I believe that we can do alerts with the Algo 3 now. And that's something I'm really looking forward to, because I'm I don't always want to be staring at the chart looking when the W's are going to form and stuff like that. So I would love alerts. I have not tested them yet. Let me just... I know last time I used alerts on with the buy and sell signals. It was annoying me because anytime it flashed before the candle closed, I was getting the alerts. So I didn't know basically which alerts to actually pay attention to and which not. But I believe there was some improvements to the alert system here. There is great buy and sell alerts on core trend. Oh, nice, nice. I'll definitely be taking a look at some of those in a little bit here. Does anyone, actually speaking of that, does anyone have any questions about the algo indicators other than that? I use it for bot trading. Nice, nice. I would like to start taking a look at some of those other indicators. Might get stopped out on the rest of this position anyways here. I'm really tempted to keep looking at this and re-enter if we get that Tesla there. I actually, very quickly here, I'm actually going to update my stop loss back to above this W here right now. Just because I only have half my position anyways, the stop, if I get stopped, it would be very minimal. Let's go 788. I'm just going to clone this. There, basically if we break above the 1 hour trend, then I'll get stopped out on the rest of my position, but it would probably, in total, basically be about break even on the total position. Maybe a very small loss, but... all right, other than that, I want to start diving into some of these new indicators here. I'll basically go over a few things that I believe is what I'm seeing, and I don't know if I'll get through all these indicators. I've got some stuff I got to do, so I'm only going to be here for another 15 or 20 minutes or so. But I want to start diving into these a little bit, just getting a little more familiar with them. So this right here, this is our liquidations from the TRENDMASTer indicator. And if I were a betting man, and I definitely am, I would say that, yeah, obviously this is just showing us where all the liquidation levels would be. So obviously, yeah, we do have some liquidity down here that we could get a plunge to the downside, just soak up all that liquidity before blasting back to the upside. But something to consider is it looks like there is a lot heavier liquidations up here. So, I mean, maybe the Mr. Market Maker does just end up pumping us to the upside and grabbing all this liquidity here before sending us lower. And you know what? Honestly, maybe we just end up blasting right through this level and carrying on our uptrend. But that's very cool. That's a very cool feature, and that's something that I've wanted for quite a long time. I've seen some heat maps and stuff that other people have posted, and it's very cool. So I'm very excited to have this and excited to start playing with it a little bit more. Can hop into the settings. Oh yeah, so here is where you can see the different colors. What's all gonna get liquidated. Very cool, very cool. The market maker, they do, yeah, they do love to grab a lot of those liquidation levels. And again, it doesn't have to happen every time. It also doesn't have to happen in a particular order. It's just something to be very aware of, that there is that liquidity there. So any big players who want to fill their positions, anything like that, those levels can just be just basically have, like I said, it's a heat map. It's just basically a kind of like a magnet zone, just attracts liquidity there, or attracts the price to those levels. Very cool. Very excited to start playing with that a little more. Auto charting tools here. I've seen some very cool features in here. Like I said, I have not played with these much at all yet, but there's a lot of very cool features that I notice you can play with here. Obviously, here you can see this is automatically showing us our daily open, where the price opened today, our weekly open, you got monthly opens, you got quarterly opens, just important levels in the market that when you're looking at in shorter time frames and that sort of thing, quite often very nice scalping levels to enter at. So cool to keep those levels on the radar. So very nice that it shows us that automatically. Order blocks, that would be very similar to what I was showing you with MDX with the supply and demand zones. Let's just see if that shows up here. Yeah, so we're seeing a bunch of supply zones up here, obviously a ton of resistance up ahead, and a little bit of demand zones below us a little ways. So basically, yeah, if we drop this support level, we currently have a triple bottom here. We end up dropping that level, and yeah, I think that we end up trading a little bit further, kind of down into these demand zones. Sorry, getting tongue-tied here. Yeah, that's a feature. I love it on the MDX ALGO indicators, and yeah, to see it here too, that's very cool. You can find the support and resist as well, or both. Looking for those flip levels. Important levels in the market. Neat. Yeah, this is my first time playing around with some of these settings, so very cool. Swing points, I was kind of talking about that earlier. That's these little white lines here, just showing where basically a pivot point. I have it selected to wicks. Some people prefer looking at candle bodies. I prefer wicks. When I'm drawing trend lines and everything, I really prefer wicks. I want to see those exact touch points. And then obviously you can adjust your sensitivity as well. This is a cool one too, candle identifier. So if you're looking for, actually here, I just want to clean things up a little bit. Candle identifier, I really like the idea of this. If there's a certain candle you really look for with your confluence when entering a position, I mean, we have a whole list here, which will basically just outline what you're looking for. Let's just see what an engulfing candle looks like. So yeah, it shows us every time there's an engulfing candle, it looks like. So yeah, if you're looking to enter a trade, you have your trend lines mapped out. Let's say you have divergences playing in your favor, or Fibonacci levels in your favor, or whatever, and the last thing you're kind of looking for is your exact entry, and you're waiting for a certain candle type. I mean, this is perfect. This would be definitely for you in that case. Like I talked about, daily opens, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. You can check out the previous ones as well. Fibonacci's, you can have automatic Fibonacci levels. Here, just to clean things up once again. Let's see, Fibonacci's. May as well have extensions on there. Oh, that's very cool. That is so helpful as well for specifically for newer traders, to have these tools automatically lay things out for you. I mean, that is so valuable for one, just most importantly, just double checking that you have things set up right, making sure the indicators agree with you, kind of a thing, just looking for that confluence. But also, if you're learning, just learning kind of how to lay these things out, right? Very cool to see that it automatically does that. Oh, you can reverse them as well. So that was pulled top to bottom. This will change it bottom to top. Very cool. Yeah, very exciting stuff. I know a lot of you guys are probably quite familiar with these indicators, so I mean, I don't want to go through absolutely every single feature that is on them at this point, because we're limited for time, and also it's very repetitive for a lot of you guys. So yeah, I don't know. This is just a quick handful of a bunch of features from both sets of indicators now that MDX and TRENDMASTER have joined forces like this. I mean, just look at this slew of indicators that we get being a part of this community now. You were talking about the core trend. Let me just bring that guy up. Let that load. Okay, so that's almost like a bit of a market flow, kind of just showing the general flow of the market. And let's see, you were talking about setting alerts. Automatic swing scalp, very cool. Crypto, altcoins, equities, oh neat. I want to see this entry and exit. Okay, so this must be what you were talking about. You set alerts on those signals. I'm guessing that's what you were getting at. Add alert on TRENDMASTER core. Okay, so that's interesting. So how would you go about setting an alert on these then, for example? Would you just have it set to when it's crossing or when it touches? Oh, in the settings? So that would be these guys down here, I'm guessing. Okay, so you have a bot that automatically takes those then. That's sweet. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm itching to just play around with some of these indicators a little more. Like I said, I was totally blindsided by this whole situation while I was out of the service area. So, very cool. I can't wait to start playing with these a little bit more. I'm assuming these signals come on candle close as well. Like, man, that was a beautiful call. Both of these. Absolutely beautiful. For scalping, invert the signals, and when volatility and delta volume kicks in, you take the signal. Okay. Nice, nice. Cool, cool. Oh, we would have got stopped out if I had not changed my stop loss. I still, maybe I should have updated my stop loss there, but like I said, we're just going to see what happens with this 1 hour trend. Okay, yeah, I see with your picture there. Nice. Actually, your picture there just reminded me of a signal that I wanted to talk about on a larger time frame here, guys. I have not talked about this in a little while. Going back to my larger time frame, and I mean, this is my weekly time frame on the logarithmic chart, and this is totally just bouncing back to my analysis rather than the indicators here. But one thing that's been a very, very strong signal in this market is this money flow cloud on the MDX oscillator 5 down here. You can see that when we do get these crosses of which way the money flow is going, it can be such a big signal. I mean, even back here, yes, we did get this little pump after we flipped bearish right here, but you can see that we were stopped by the structure here. And that was our COVID dump. But interesting that the money flow indicator picked that up with no interest in the news in the market or anything like that. But yeah, this money flow can be such a strong signal. And I was talking about that back when we were at these levels here when we first started our pump from after the FTX debacle there. But what I want to talk about now that we have to be a little bit careful of, if you're a moon boy, which I tend to be sometimes, we do have this cloud turning a little bit red now. Like I said, it doesn't have to mean that we're just going to absolutely drop off a cliff, but I really want to point that out, that generally speaking, money talks, and this has been some very strong signal in the past. I mean, you can see last time that we got this signal where the money flow cloud flipped to red here. Once again, you can see we just got this, basically this very small pump to the upside and then absolutely just nuked to the downside. So, you know, that's something that I don't want to take too lightly right now. The fact that we're seeing that red money flow again on a weekly time frame, the structure itself isn't so bad. I mean, yeah, it does look like we're having a rounding top. And yes, one thing that I do want to mention is, I mean, everyone probably knows this already, but we've been trading into this old support box, which should in turn become new strong resistance for the market. So to see us getting rejected there isn't all too surprising. Doesn't have to happen. You can see that back here in our previous market cycle. Didn't really matter. But just something to be a little bit cautious of. We do have that resistance up ahead. As far as the long term for Bitcoin goes, I'm really not too worried. I strongly believe the bottom is in for this market cycle. And basically, my reasoning for that is we broke the structure on a very large time frame. We were just basically low, lower, low, lower, low, lower, low. The highest point between these two lows is right here. I outlined it with this purple horizontal level. That's where the structure really flipped on a very large time frame. And to see that we came back and have retested this level a couple times and still so far holding as support, that is good to see in my opinion. Obviously, yes, if we end up dropping that support, it absolutely makes sense. We test back into the lower part of this range back here. But I think overall, as far as this market cycle goes, I can't really see us breaking below these lows or anything like that. I mean, obviously anything can happen. But as it stands right now, I think Bitcoin's in a good place long term. It's just usually bear markets take a while to play out, and the consolidation takes a while to play out. I mean, when you look at the time frame that it took after we obviously had our bear market, we had our bull trap where we shot up right up to that 618 Fibonacci rejection. and then came back down to the downside and just kind of consolidated sideways. So, I mean, market cycles love to do that. They love to get boring. They trade sideways for a long time. I really don't see Bitcoin going absolutely parabolic and hitting new all-time highs and stuff like that this year. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong, but I just don't really see it. And one thing that I've talked about in many of my streams, and I'll mention to you guys just for you newcomers here, is if we do end up breaking this resistance, I think it would be a very quick shot up to some very high targets, like $48,000. Obviously, that's if we break above this yellow box. I think it would be a fairly clear shot to that level. Bitcoin loves to respect that 618 on a macro time frame as far as a rejection level. You can see, like I said, that previous bear market, we topped up at that level basically exactly, came crashing back down. If I were, again, if I were a betting man, I bet this is a 786, 886 Fibonacci from where we topped out. I mean, look at that. Basically just wicked below the 886 very briefly. Candle bodies closing right on the 786. So again, I just really love those Fibonacci levels. Oops. But yeah, again, we end up testing that 618 on a bit of a bull trap at just a sucker's rally, if you want to call it that. But this isn't the only market cycle this has happened in. And also what I want to point out about that is, yes, we got this harsh rejection from this Fibonacci level. But look what happens when we actually got a weekly candle body close above that Fibonacci. It was just absolutely parabolic moonshot after that. And if we go back even another market cycle, you can see as the first time we tested that 618 rejection, we did end up getting about a 40% correction to the downside. But then once again, look what happens when we got our weekly candle bodies closing above that level. Even came back, retested it as support. Absolutely parabolic moon boys on kind of a thing. So that's what I'm really going to be looking for this market cycle as well. If we can get a weekly close above that 618, I think we're going to be in a very good position, because I mean, that is a strong Fibonacci level. Everyone's familiar with the 618 being very common practice, and as well it lines up so good with the structure back here right before we took that the inverse parabola to the downside there. So I think that's going to be an important level in the market, and I love to talk about it in every stream just because I want to remind myself more than anything that it's going to be hard not to become a moon boy as we're targeting that $50,000 level. But I think that's going to be just recipe for disaster if and when we get to that level. Just something to keep on the radar is what all I wanted to get at with that. So so far so good. Short still in a profit here. Oh, just got to catch up on your messages here. Couple pictures for you there. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I definitely got to play around with those a little bit. Maybe I'll be the one coming to you guys here. You guys have a lot more experience with the TRENDMASTER indicators already. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a heck of a lot else I wanted to touch on today, you guys. I don't want to bore you guys who are familiar with the TRENDMASTER indicators, so I don't want to go back over every single detail there. So I want to play with that on my own a little bit. But does anyone else have any other questions about the TRENDMASTER indicators? There's knowledgeable people in here, or the MDX ALGO indicators. I know I'm a little more familiar with those, or just how I look at structure in general, the strategies I talked about earlier, anything else like that. Hopefully you're able to take something useful out of this stream. Like I said, those were basically two of my favorite strategies, are finding out which way these W's are trending, and as well finding those reversal warnings along the 1 hour trend. Those are two very strong features with the MDX ALGO in my opinion. I'll keep pointing them out. Quite often when I'm trading the 1 minute, it's very hard for me to bring myself to tell you guys when I'm taking a scalp on a 1 minute chart, because by the time I take the screenshot, enter my trade, explain what I'm seeing and all that sort of things, that's going to be a couple minutes. And when you're trading a 1 minute chart, I mean, a minute or two could be totally game changer. Like, obviously things can reverse so fast when you're playing these degen timeframes, and that's why I'm so quick to take partial profits on my positions and update stop losses. So I still really like to point out when I'm using these W's and stuff, like how I used it in previous trades and that sort of thing. I had posted about a couple Solana trades earlier today in the altcoin group there. But these strategies, I have watched them on longer time frames. I'm just not much of a swing trader. I'm more of a scalper, like I said. And I've seen other people in the group using that W strategy on longer time frames, looking at hourly charts. Like I showed you guys, looking at it on the 4-hourly chart. Just really good confluence to have when basically picking the direction of your trade. Oh, nice. I'm glad you guys liked it. But other than that, I don't have a heck of a lot else to go over. Like I said, I'm going to try and get this posted to the Academy in case you wanted to go back and look at it, or just moving forward if you end up missing my streams, anything like that. But like I said, they will always be posted to my YouTube channel as well. They're just usually getting posted a couple hours later because when we have these streams that are an hour or 2 hours long, they take a while for me to upload, but they will eventually be uploaded there, and I'll share them in the group in the Discord as well. So yeah, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I said, StuTube Trading, all one word, and as well my Twitter, StuTube Trading, all one word. Because like I said, I mean, a lot of times I'm just talking nonsense on here, but sometimes I do have analysis on there as well. So something to consider there. Yeah, like I said, very, very, very excited to start playing around with some of these new toys I got here. Feels like Christmas. But anyways, guys, if you are watching this stream a little bit later on my YouTube channel and you appreciated this video and these insights to these live streams, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And if you want access to these beautiful indicators as well as to be a part of these live streams and other live coaching events put on by myself and others in MDX Crypto's VIP Discord, there's a 15% discount on a referral link down below in my comments to join. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.